San Diego against the #1 defense in the NFL, that of the Denver Broncos. I'm joined by John Brody. John, there's been a long-time axiom in pro football that a good defense usually beats a good offense. Do you buy that?
I don't anymore, Don. I think there have been some rule changes that have changed that whole situation. The San Diego Chargers have won their division twice because they've had great offensive football teams. Now, when you can get a receiver down the field, give the quarterback enough time to hit him, I think you're going to put points on the board. And San Diego has so many outstanding receivers, I don't think it'll be a problem.
Well, the Chargers, you know, lost John Jefferson, but they've been putting the ball up just as much and just as successfully with these people.
Well, when you take a look, they have lost John Jefferson, but you only have so many balls. They've changed what they do. Muncie's become a much more instrumental part of their offense. They've got a kid named James Brooks who can run inside, outside, catch screen passes, and scare you to death. So I think they've got it all, and Denver's got their hands full.
Well, the Denver defense is waiting for them. #1, they've got some great secondary men. As you look across at them, Aaron Kyle, Steve Foley, Billy Thompson, and Louis Wright. You know some of those guys, don't you, John?
Well, Billy Thompson has played for 13 years, and he's as good a strong safety as has ever played this game. He and Louis Wright actually put a new dimension into defense and make the 4-back defense look like a 5-back. So it's like having 12 guys.
Danny Reeves, the new coach at Denver, talked with John a little while ago. And John asked him, how do you stop these San Diego Chargers?
I don't know that you say stop San Diego. I think you try to contain them, and to do that, we have to do, I think, our part offensively. And everybody tries to do it when they play San Diego is keep them off the field. And if we can do that and control the ball, you know, and not give them the turnovers where they have the real quick touchdowns, then we'll be successful in the game. If we'll help keep the defense off the field, you know, part of the game, and not make the big turnovers, we got a chance against them.
The foot stamping has started here in Denver. They are ready to roll, and we'll be back at Mile High Stadium after this. John Brody, sold out once again as Mile High Stadium. Some 76,000 are here as the unbeaten San Diego Chargers have Ralph Benerska, #6, ready to kick it off. Wade Manning is deep for Denver. There's the kickoff. It's a long one. Manning will go 5 yards deep in the end zone. He's coming out. 10, 15. And out to the 19-yard line. So a 24-yard return by Wade Manning of the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos go on offense 1st and 10. Craig Morton in his 17th year in the National Football League at quarterback. His coach, Danny Reeves, says he's better now than he was when he was at Dallas with Reeves some years ago. Dave Preston and Rick Peros are the runners. Pass catchers, young Steve Watson, free agent from Temple, caught 3 for scores last week. Haven Moses, you know about him, and big Riley Odoms at tight end. Good offensive line. Reeves says it's as good as anything they had at Dallas. It is 1st and 10 for the Broncos. First meeting of these two arch rivals in the AFC West. Peros runs and doesn't get much as the big defensive front of the San Diego Chargers knocks him down. They play the 4-3, does San Diego. And across the front they have 68. Leroy Jones, who's on that stop, along with 74, Louis Kelcher, Gary Big Hands Johnson, and Fred Dean starting at right end. Linebackers, Woodrow Lowe, Alabama linebacker. A couple of new people in the starting lineup this year. Cliff Thrift in the middle and Lyndon King at the left side. Good secondary. Williams and Buchanan, experienced corners. A couple of guys coming out at the safeties, Greger and Duncan. There's the head coach, Don Coryell. 2nd down and 9 coming up. Peros, runner from Utah, carries the ball for the Denver Broncos and gets out across the 20 to about the 23. Free safety Bob Greger knocked him down. It is a beautiful day in Denver. Temperature in the high 70s. Bright, sunny. Look at that crowd, John. Always like that here.
Well, they've been sold out for years here. Now they have something to be sold out about. I really think Dan Reeves has got in the future an awful lot to look forward to, because when he puts the offense in that he is very capable of structuring, I think you'll see more offense than you've seen here in the past several years, and that's about all they've needed up here.
Well, we hear, John, so much about the Denver defense, and with reason, but their offense is good. They've been rolling up some 350 yards a game offense. Shotgun now, and Craig Morton takes a look on 3rd and 5, and down goes Craig. So the San Diego defense rises up on the first series of downs and shuts off Denver completely. Let's watch that sack again.
Well, Don, the sack was caused because Woodrow Lowe just played the back coming out of the backfield so beautifully that there was never a case. Tony Reed, who is excellent in one-to-one situations, which was put in a man-to-man situation. If Curly can't get time to throw, it'll be a very long afternoon, because he is not the most mobile person in the world.
Well, those defenses say you know where to find Morton. He sets up, that's where he's going to be. He doesn't move around. Luke Prestridge deep in his own end now to kick. Bunts the ball in well. High into this Rocky Mountain air, signaling for making the fair catch is rookie James Brooks of San Diego. And the Chargers get the ball for the first time with good field position at their 42. The highest scoring offense in the NFL, led by that man Dan Fouts, 38 points a game. Cappelletti and Chuck Muncie are his runners to start the game. Charlie Joyner and Ron Smith, the starting wide receivers today, and the great tight end Kellen Winslow. Very experienced offensive blockers. Washington 14 years, White 13 years on the right side, Shields and Wilkerson, and Masick at center. No score, first quarter, first possession for the Chargers. Fouts runs with the ball.
Not intended, not intended.
Muncie was looking at him, and I think there was a misconnection there.
Well, whenever they run the ball on first down, somebody's confused.
First and 10 run, the loss of a couple of yards. It's going to be second down and almost 12 now for San Diego. Ball at their 40.
I think you'll be looking for San Diego to throw the ball underneath the linebackers of Denver, because that's really the only open spot early. They'll make adjustments. They play every team a little bit differently, but I don't think that they'll let linebackers get behind.
Whoops. Barney Chavis, the left end for the Broncos, was coming early. We'll see if he was drawn offside. I mentioned those Denver linebackers, John. They are very, very mobile. Get all over the field in pass coverage, and then can come up to make the tackle. Led by Gradishar.
You can understand why he's moving a little bit early, because anytime you have a guy, Russ Washington's playing, you know, he's been an outstanding pass blocker for years, but when a second 12, you're not fooling anybody. You know you have to get in your position pretty swiftly. He did that, but you don't get to go that quick.
These two teams have been playing football against each other since the very beginning of the old American Football League back in 1960. San Diego, twice consecutively AFC Western champion. Fouts gives off. Muncie doesn't get a thing. Broncos are looking for him on second and 16. Chuck Muncie lost more yardage back inside the 35-yard line. Rulon Jones, number 75, and Barney Chavis, two defensive ends, were there to make a tackle on him.
It's funny how certain teams, Don, they feature certain areas of ability. Now, Denver, they draft Rulon Jones, and they don't expect him to be a great player. And all of a sudden, a kid comes out, and at the end of his first year, he's playing first string on a defensive line that can play with anybody in the league. I don't know what it is they teach you up here, but they do teach you how to play defensively in the line.
Well, he was a great pass rusher coming in as a rookie. Now he's learned to play the run as he did there. It's third down and about 20 for the San Diego Chargers. No score in the first quarter. Fouts sets up, triggers it out, and there's Chuck Muncie with some room to run. And Muncie's a full load when he gets going. He gets good yardage, but he's well short of the first down, and so San Diego will have to punt the ball back to Denver.
That was not an indicator of the way the defense will play for Denver. When it's third and 20, you know they're going to drop deep. However, I think you will see it on first and second down situations. Nobody even comes into the picture till Muncie's picked up 12 or 13 yards, but the play's successful defensively because they needed 5 more.
Wade Manning gets a lot of work, as you see the orange crush following. Wade Manning standing back at his 10-yard line to receive the punt. Roberts hits it high. Manning comes over, takes it at the 15-yard line. Chargers cover the punt well. And San Diego sends out its defensive unit. The Broncos go on offense for a second time after a 39-yard punt. So we have 10:59 to play in the first quarter. There's no score on the board, and we'll be back after this. Fourth season as head coach of the Chargers, 8th season as a head coach in the National Football League. You remember the 4 at St. Louis. And in his career, he's had 4 playoff teams.
Some guys just have a knack for knowing what to do, and he's one of them.
He's turned out winners wherever he's been. Was a defensive back at Washington State as a college player, never played pro football. Louis Kelcher comes up, makes a hard strike on the ball carrier Dave Custon of Denver.
Don, you take a look at the strength of the San Diego defense, and it's been in their defensive line. Louis Kelcher, number 74, Big Hands Johnson, number 79. You can see offensive linemen have a tough time moving them anywhere because their fort is strength. Now, people have asked, why are people scoring so many points against them? Jack Pardee said it's because we have 5 new people playing. I think in the very near future, they're going to play a lot better defense.
Well, they're starting to right now as, again, the Chargers stuff the run. There's Big Hands Johnson, number 79, first-team All-Pro tackle. Denver's given up Not that much yardage, but their counterparts on San Diego, their defense has. The Chargers giving up almost 400 yards a game, John.
And, Don, as we see Buffalo and Cincinnati tied going into overtime at 24 all, you take a look at a team like San Diego, and they have been vulnerable the last 3 weeks. That's why Denver has seen film of them. Their tackles have not played great football against the run in the last couple of weeks, so their game plan is structured around it. But it doesn't look like their game plan is going to work.
Right now, it's 3rd down and almost 13 for the Broncos. Back inside their 15. Here's Morton out of the shotgun. He throws, and he's got his man downfield for a first down. Catching the ball is Wade Manning coming back to the ball. That is Steve Watson.
He's picking it up where he left off, Danny.
Caught 6 passes last year, John. He got 7 last week.
Also 3 for touchdowns. His forte is that he can jump very well. Morton has a strong arm. If his line gives him enough time to allow Watson to run a pattern, and in that particular instance he was double covered, he's strong enough to throw against double coverage, and Watson is plenty able enough to handle the ball in a crowd.
Here are the scores coming in. The New York Jets looking for their first one of the year way out in front of Houston now at Shea Stadium. 33-17 in the 4th quarter. A 40-yard field goal by Nick Mickemeyer of Buffalo with a second to play sends that game into overtime at Cincinnati. 24-24. Pittsburgh leading New England 21-14. 4th quarter score, 3 Rivers. The Cleveland Browns evening their record at 2-2 with an upset of the previously unbeaten Atlanta Falcons 28-17. Another upset. Detroit shutting out the Super Bowl champion Oakland Raiders 16-0 at Pontiac, Michigan. And the Philadelphia Eagles pulling away in the 4th quarter now lead Washington 29-13.
That's the one team that has played to form, just as has Miami, until Baltimore comes back after being down 14-0 to tie it up in the 3rd, 21 all. The delay in the action is Dave Studdard. We look at Minnesota Green Bay 27-13 in the 3rd quarter. Dave Studdard, who is a very instrumental part of the offensive line for Denver, is coming out of the ball game, which will necessitate Kelvin Clark going into his place.
Here come the Broncos on offense. Haven Moses, Steve Watson wide to either side. Riley Odom's the tight end. It's 1st down and 10. Ball just inside the 30. In the flat they go to Watson. He's got some room to roll, and Watson's across midfield. Steve Watson, the free agent from Temple. He was a track man there. Excellent high jumper. Good basketball player. He can go way up to get the ball. Puts a move on free safety Bob Greger and gets ahead for a 1st down.
Donnie, how often it is where you see a kid hang around for 2 or 3 years. You know he's got pretty good speed, pretty good moves, good jumping ability, can catch the ball, but nothing ever happens. All of a sudden, he has one good game, catches 7 balls and 3 touchdowns. In the 1st quarter now, he's caught 2 balls, picked up 2 first downs. This is where careers get started.
This is really moving right now. A 20-yard gain on the play. The Broncos just across midfield. 1st and 10. Here's Preston. Dave Preston, a hard, elusive runner out of Bowling Green, takes the ball down close to the 46-yard line. He's been a good back for Denver. Catches the ball well, blocks well. Came in as a free agent originally. Bob Greger, the free safety, 43, was on the stop. Gain on the play of 4 yards. Going to be 2nd down and 6. Ball down to the 46-yard line of San Diego with 8:38 to play in the 1st quarter. Greg Morton threw 3 1st quarter interceptions in this stadium last week against Baltimore and came back to have one of his great days. Ended up throwing for 4 touchdowns. Now Morton is sacked for a 2nd time, way back inside his 45.
It looks like Kelcher's right in the middle of it. At the end of the play, he was. But it was caused because Big Hands Johnson got around the pile, gave Kelcher enough time to penetrate. He was actually blocked very well. But when you have 4 excellent pass rushers, a quarterback has to get back, know where he's going, and fire that ball before he gets there. Now look at Louis. He's sitting there. It looks like everything's fine. Now, almost any pass play can be thrown in this amount of time. However, Big Hands forced him out of the pocket. He came up and helped.
Right now, Craig Morton is coming out of the game. He's shaken up a little bit on the last sack. Sacked twice today. Talking with his coach, Dan Reeves. They came together as rookies to Dallas back in '65. Craig Morton is the #1 draft choice. Dan Reeves is a free agent out of South Carolina.
And this boy that replaced him can hum that ball. He can put some spiral on it. He throws it about as well as anybody.
Steve DeBerg was with the 49ers last year. Lets a long one go. A man is out there. Wade Manning comes back to the ball. He has it at the 21-yard line. Boy, he does come out humming it. A big gainer on DeBerg's first play from scrimmage, and now the Broncos have a 1st down and are challenging.
Don, this is what I like. about a team like Denver right now. Dan Reeves comes in, he's a coach. If you remember the philosophy of Denver, don't create any mistakes on offense, let our defense do it. Well, they came out trying to run the ball in the middle. File that, they got stuffed 4 times. They come back in the next possession, they throw 3 balls for first downs. Their quarterback gets hurt, it doesn't change the way they play at all. Now Morton's back in for DeBerg, but DeBerg did his job.
All the way down to the 21-yard line. 34-yard gain on the play, and now the Broncos start to mount a challenge in a scoreless game. Harris, the runner who had to sit out all of last year after knee surgery, is the leading rusher, 6th in the AFC for the Broncos, gets it to the 20, got a yard only, 2nd down and 9. Gary Johnson tackling for San Diego. 6:45 to play in the first quarter. No score on the board, but Denver getting the big gainer. Takes it down now inside the San Diego 20.
And we're watching Dan Reeves. He does call all the plays. Now, most of the time, it's not the offensive, it's not the head coach who calls them, but Dan, being an offensive specialist, does call it all.
2nd and 9. Morton goes into the end zone. Nana's open. Riley Odoms, touchdown, Denver Broncos.
Greg's a little slow getting up.
So is Fred Dean, who hit him. It's getting mean out there. It's going to turn into a street fight.
Well, you see, they put everybody on the line of scrimmage. You've got 7 guys back there meeting at the quarterback. That puts an unplayable burden on the defensive back. As you can tell, you put an unplayable burden on the defensive back. And he's a new boy at that, Bob Prager. He's going to get beat.
And he got beat, but good. 19-yard gainer. He's the famed white horse Crusher, making his run around the stadium here at Mile High as the Broncos are on the board with a 6-0 lead.
Crusher didn't get a lot of work over the past 4 or 5 years here, but I think he's going to get quite a bit more in the next 4 or 5.
He used to have that little midget pony. Now he's gone and got the big horse in. Freddie Steinfort drills the extra point into the net. It's up and good. And so with 6:23 left to play in the first quarter, the Denver Broncos strike quickly and they go in front 7-0. Don Criqui with John Brody back at sold-out Mile High Stadium on a beautiful September day. Denver, Colorado, and the Broncos are in the lead 7-0. Now the kickoff by Steinfort doesn't carry that far. Lawrence Williams coming back with the ball for San Diego, and he sweeps it out across the 20 to the 23-yard line. Penalty markers down. It'll go against the Chargers. Referee today is Jerry Seaman. His crew, Frank Sinkovitz, Leo Miles, John Leinbach, Paul Bates, Bill Quinby, and Bill O'Brien.
I think if I'm Dan Fouts, it's about time to look for Charlie Joyner. He hasn't had the ball much.
Illegal block from the rear above the weights, number 52, receiving team. First down.
Ray Preston threw an illegal block, so the ball is set back inside the 10-yard line of the Chargers. They've got a problem now. Charlie Joyner, who comes into the game with a 25-yard per catch average out the left flank. They go to the run to Muncie. The big back from Cal at Berkeley takes it straight ahead across the 10 to about the 11-yard line. He's some football player.
Well, you talk about the great backs, and I think what differentiates the great ones from the good ones is there was nothing at the line of scrimmage, and he picked up 4 yards.
6'4", 235 pounds, comes in as the AFC's leading rusher, averaging 5.2 at carries, been in the end zone 5 times. He can also catch it, if you know John.
About as well as anybody.
Coach Coryell, 57 years old, or soon to be next month, looking out, his team down 7-0. 2nd down and 5, right back to the run. Behind the right side, Ed White, Russ Washington lead the blocking, and Chuck Muncie with that great speed sprints out of the blocks and gets the ball to the 15-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and about 3. Chavis, the left end, was on the stop. He got enlisted at 218, but he's well over 230, his teammates will tell you. And very fast. 5:07 to play in the first quarter. Harry Smith now comes in to play the right corner for the Denver Broncos. He's played well this year. Handoff on 3rd and short yardage, and Muncie cracks it, gets across the 20, and San Diego has a first down. Here's a penalty marker down.
Got a little extra. You grab any part of Chuck you can when he's got a hold of the ball, particularly when he breaks the the point of attack. You know, it's funny, over the years you'd heard so much about Chuck Muncy, Don, and that he was rather incorrigible. Nobody could handle him. He's one of those fellas you don't have to handle. And as Fouts said, he said, I've never met a guy that's more agreeable. And
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 15 defensive team. First down.
easier to get along with and also more contributing. We can see it gets pretty tough in there once they stand to back up. Face mask.
They lost John Jefferson, as you know. He's at Green Bay, but Muncy has added a great dimension to the running game. He came last year. He's not with them in training camp last year. Here's Muncy again, catching the ball. Look at him run. Shuffles his feet, changes pace, hitching his step, and out to the 45-yard line. A gain on the play of about 9 yards. Perry Smith and Reuben Carter, the middle guard, made the tackle.
What they did is they took advantage of Denver's deep drop by their linebackers, and when you do, they're making you throw the ball to Muncy right now. And if Dan gets a little anxious, throws the ball downfield, they're in perfect position to pick it off. But it's hard to fool a Fouts. He's going to take what you give him until he has to create something.
Fouts also has a quality you had, John, when you were playing, and that is he's very difficult to sack. They've only gotten him once this season in over 100 pass attempts. Handoff. Muncy runs the ball, 2nd and 1, and he didn't get there. Denver defense knocked him down. Gradishar, the great inside linebacker, 53, was on the tackle.
Don, you were talking about Dan Fouts not being sacked very often. That, I think it comes from experience, preparation, and structure. And Dan gets back there. He knows where he's going with the ball. He doesn't fiddle around. He gets hit a lot just as he throws it. But he very seldom has the ball when they get him. And I think it's why he's become such a proficient quarterback. Watch, his steps are real quick. He stands, he throws, and he fires.
Right now he has a short yardage play. Muncy a line behind him. So's Cappelletti. Swing pass. It goes out to the rookie tight end from Maryland, Eric Seaver, and he's knocked down by Busick, but the Chargers have a first down. Get the ball out to the 48-yard line. They like Seaver.
Well, he's a perfect complement to Winslow. He's just like Bob Klein used to be for him, or Pat Curran. He can do the things that you need a tight end to do. He can block in short yardage situations. He can run good patterns, and he's got pretty good hands.
Seavers came in the 4th round. Carry 3 tight ends. Another rookie from Notre Dame, Pete Holohan, is also there. Well, the big guy is Kellen Winslow, who caught 89 balls last year. He's aligned to the left. Here we go now to the run again. Chuck Muncy sees nothing inside, breaks it to the outside. And on a first down run, Chuck Muncy takes it across midfield and down to the 47-yard line at Denver. Free safety Bill Thompson tackled him. Thompson's had some great years. Came in as a 3rd-round draft choice 13 years ago from Maryland Eastern Shore. Longest reign as a Bronco ever.
Boy, what amazes me, Don, is how he keeps his speed and quickness back there, having played for so long. He can cover you step for step with the real top tight ends in this league, and that's a tough thing to do now.
It is 2nd down and 6 for San Diego. Denver leads the game 7-0. Whoops, Fox is looking for a snap. Don Masick, his center, had a different snap count. Ball never came, and with 2:07 left to play in the first quarter, the penalty marker goes down. That's the 3rd against San Diego early in this game. Gradishar wants to change hats. He came home and got a new helmet.
Number 14 offense.
Stan himself.
And it could have been him, but I doubt that it was, because you can see Brooks took off down the field. He was in motion on the play. He took off down the field, and he didn't. All he heard was a snap count. So
2nd down and 11 now for the Chargers at their 47. Here comes Gradishar in the blitz, but he might have got across early as the throw is out of bounds by Dan Fouts. Gradishar was coming on a blitz from the inside.
boy, they are really daring the offense of San Diego. If you looked at the defense that time, Winslow is man-to-man with Louis Wright. Charlie Joyner is man-to-man with Billy Thompson, and then they're comboing the other 3 players. Now that is really putting a burden on those 2 defensive backs. We talked at the start of the show that those 2 can cover effectively man-to-man.
Offside, number 53 defense.
But it's going to be hard to do for Steady Diet, and I don't think they'll put him in that position too long.
Gradishar was the guilty party. Great player out of Ohio State. NFL Defensive Player of the Year in '78. 4 times a consensus All-Pro. Now in his 8th year. Fouts on 2nd down and 6. Looks over the middle, throws it hard, and Steve Foley, who was a quarterback himself at Tulane as a collegiate, had a free play on the ball but couldn't hold on. Charlie Joyner was the intended receiver.
All right, Winslow's in motion. They've got Billy Thompson man-to-man with him. Fouts is a little confused because he's trying to get in there to Joyner, overthrows him. That's one of the, you can tell, he's just thrown off his timing a little bit. It causes bad throws. Joyner was there and he missed it.
Foley last year, about the 8th game, was moved from the right corner to free safety. A real smart football player. Denver corners playing right up tight against those San Diego wide receivers. 3rd down and 6, and there's the sack. No doubt about it. They get Dan Fouts way back at the 40. Tom Jackson, who was a load of trouble coming from his linebacker spot, was untouched.
We just mentioned how seldom Fouts gets hit. The crowd tells you he got it that time.
So the Broncos will get the ball back. Dan Reeves says these are critical weeks this Sunday and next for the Denver Broncos because they've got 2 of their tough divisional opponents. They'll be in Oakland next Sunday, a game you'll see on many of these NBC stations. Raiders will be angry. They were shut out today at Detroit. Here's a punt downfield by Roberts of the Chargers. It's a good one. Wade Manning watches it and it hops into the end zone. Manning's going to bring it out. Man.
That's the way you get beat, Don. You get a little lead, you've got a team down. Try to make a great play when all you have to do is leave things go.
58-yard punt by Roberts was the key. And now Denver has the ball, but they're in a hole. Denver, Colorado, Don Criqui with John Brody. Denver came out with a lot of explosion, hit the big pass plays and took it in. They lead 7-0.
And this is a critical drive for them, Don, because if they can get out of this hole, they won't give San Diego field position. Last time they didn't have excellent field position, ran it in for a touchdown, so who knows?
Wade Manning brought it back to the 5-yard line, returning a punt from his end zone. Morton, quick timing, patted out the flag, goes to Watson.
He's gone.
Goodbye, 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 unless they can get him. Lyndon King is in pursuit, but he'll not catch him, and Watson's going to take it the distance. Denver touchdown.
Oh, baby, God.
Another. Look at this play.
Well, what makes it so great is he got stuck. It's very hard for a receiver to keep his attention on the ball when he knows he's in a direct collision course. Not only did he keep his attention on the ball and catch it, but his balance was so beautiful. He got hit from the back, got knocked straight up again, and he was off. No stumbling, no nothing. I think he's making a few believers up here in the Mile High Stadium.
Well, he is. Ken is a free agent in 79 out of Temple in Philadelphia. Home folks are watching them there today in Philly. And so, Steinforth's extra point is up and good. It's a 14-0 game, Denver.
RCA's Video Expo Teen 81.
Well, we've had some explosions here in Denver. Broncos are the team exploding. A 93-yard touchdown pass play. Now, the Chargers have a problem with the ensuing kickoff. Free ball! Denver has it. Denver has the ball. When it happens, it can happen in a hurry. That was Mike Harden. Picks the ball up here, John, and nothing's there.
Well, what happens is the ball was kicked so high. Steinfort did a great job. Williams could not. He was sitting in the pile when he got it. Little bumble, big turnover.
As we don't have to recall very long ago when Denver had a similar problem returning a punt. Wade Manning had the ball down at the 5. And then bang, 93-yard touchdown pass play. Fats isn't afraid to throw it in his end zone either. Not much there. The Chargers probably got it back to the line of scrimmage and a little more. Dave Preston. Mike Williams is coming up to make the play. Now Preston comes out. Plays being alternated in by Danny Reeves. Denver Broncos might have gotten a foot or so as they get a little bit closer to the end zone, leading the game 14-0, looking to try to break it open early. Norton at quarterback. Looks. Free man in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver Broncos. Jim Wright, the third-string tight end, Jim Wright, releases from the line of scrimmage and is all alone, and the Broncos open up a 20-0 lead.
Hey, it would feel pretty safe if we were playing anybody else but San Diego. San Diego has not been able to do anything offensively because Denver's had the ball. Credit Morton. Now he comes out of this fake and he's throwing quick. Looks up, sees the tight end, gets him before he runs out of room. Touchdown.
Steinfort's been kicking a lot of extra points here in the first quarter. That's his third with 11 seconds to play in the quarter. The Denver Broncos have opened up a 21-0 lead. 3 touchdown passes by Craig Morton.
You know, I credit the whole thing, Don, also. We look at the stands. They're absolutely elated, but also surprised. And I credit Dan Reeves with coming out against San Diego, knowing they have to put some points on the board, throwing from his own 7-yard line. Remember, it's the head coach calling the plays. Throwing a ball that's really tough to complete. It's an inside pattern, thought to be very dangerous. He hits Watson and turns the whole game around. 14 points later, they're saying, can it be true?
It surely can be. Craig Morton last week threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter. Responded to throw 4 touchdown passes. Today, puts up 5, hits 5, 150 yards, and 3 scores.
He's thrown 7 touchdowns in the last 3 quarters.
That's right. So now San Diego tries to get its stuff together. James Brooks, that spectacular rookie from Auburn, is back. He's going to field the ball at his 3. A wave of blockers forms, and Brooks sprints up the middle and takes it all the way out to the 25. And Air Coryell's got to get on track right now. San Diego's going to get back in this game. 1 second left to play in the first quarter, and the Charger offense comes out looking at a scoreboard that shows them down 21-0. Coryell's not sure what hit his Air Force here. Big plays have been the key as a man is down for the Denver Broncos. Wade Manning.
Here are the scores in the NFL.
They're not extremely long in that position either, Don. Wade Manning is a backup wide receiver behind Watson and Moses. Upchurch is hurt, not expected to play. We saw him before the game. Looked like he was running all right, but I know they do not want to use Rick Upchurch unless it's absolutely necessary. And I can't really think of any team I'd rather have protecting a 21-point lead than the Denver defense.
There's the man. I thought it was interesting when I was talking to Dan Reeves before the game. I said, how do you compare Morton now to when he was at Dallas? He's a better quarterback. His arm is just as good, lost a little mobility, but he never really had any. But he's a lot smarter. He doesn't try to force things, and he looks at the whole field every time he's going to throw.
I think he's just expanded as a person, and when that happens, you seem to do a little better as a quarterback. He's always been about as tough as they come.
Not many guys last 17 years. You did at quarterback. I can't think of any others. I guess Blanda.
Well, there's a few that last. Unitas played 19. Dawson played 18 or 19. I don't think that'll be the future, however. They come and go pretty fast nowadays.
Dan Fouts is in his 9th year with San Diego. First down and 10 for the Chargers. He's ready to let it rip. Fires out in the flat. Muncy has the ball. Look at him go. Chuck Muncy breaks tackles, gets ahead for 13 yards and a San Diego first down. He's out to the 38-yard line. So the Chargers get a good gainer, break it out. We'll be back to Mile High Stadium right after this. We're ready now to start. Start the second quarter at Mile High Stadium. It has been an explosive first quarter for the Denver Broncos as they lead this game 21-0 on 3 Craig Morton touchdown passes, one of them covering 93 yards to young Steve Watson. First and 10 now for the San Diego Chargers. Muncie's caught behind the line of scrimmage and goes down at the 37. Bryson Manor, defensive end, number 66, got it. Linebackers for the Denver Broncos, and they're really the strength of this defense. Swenson 51, Larry Evans 56, Gradishar 53, and Tom Jackson 57, who had that big sack earlier with Fouts.
Don, if you do not see the wide receivers, as we watch Muncie unable to find any hole at all, Bryson Manor gets through the crack, pulls him down for no gain. 51 Bob Swenson jumps on afterwards. They're big and strong up front.
The number 1 offense in the NFL, San Diego's against the number 1 defense, Denver's, but it's been the Denver offense that has been the story early in this game. As the throw from Fouts to Eric Sievers, his young tight end, is incomplete.
They're moving people all around defensively for Denver, and until I think Fouts starts challenging Lewis Wright and Billy Thompson, he's going to have a little problem because he's outmanned in there. That time it would have been a tight catch for Sievers. He's got Winslow over there with Thompson. He's got Joyner on Louis Wright. It's a tough job to handle him, but he's got to try.
Cincinnati has just defeated Buffalo in overtime, 27-24. Overtime game. Steelers won an overtime game, 27-21 over New England. Fouts takes his time. He looks and he gets his man. The ball is completed out to the midfield as Kellen Winslow takes it on the run. Man who's redefined the tight end position. 6'6", 250, and runs like a wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think that you'll notice more than anything, Don, they've got Seaver in there also as a tight end. When Winslow's in there, he is more than a tight end. He doesn't catch a lot of balls from the tight end position. He catches them mostly from in motion and split out in the slot position. That time he was able to shake Billy Thompson. Didn't have him man-to-man. Aaron Kyle had the responsibility, and they may come back to that.
John, they got a good one going at Baltimore. The Colts and the Miami Dolphins tied up 28 all in the fourth quarter. First down and 10 now for San Diego. Fouts looks long. Charlie Joyner coming back at the ball, tipped in the air, intercepted by Denver. Steve Foley has the ball. He's not done. Across the 20, and Foley comes all the way out to the 22-yard line. A tip ball and a free safety. Steve Foley gets the ball for the Broncos. Aaron Kyle tipped at the right corner.
I tell you, you can't teach something like that. That's just great reaction by Foley when the ball's thrown in the air. They're trying to get Joyner down the field on Aaron Kyle. Foley comes over looking for any sort of loose ball. You notice he doesn't just go up blindly. He's waiting to see a tip. He finds the tip. He's able to get control of the ball. And when he picks it up, he gets some kind of help. Bryson Manor coming in late tries to help him to keep him from doing something out of bounds. That red jersey flying through the air was Bryson Manor.
So Fouts, who's been sacked twice today, throws the intercept, and the Broncos have the ball back. There's the man who got it, Steve Foley. Aaron Kyle playing the pass so well, tipping it away from Charlie Joyner, and Foley able to intercept.
I don't think I've ever seen two people that he is a better free safety than he was a cornerback, but all four of those fellas can play cornerback back there, and that's what makes it tough, even when you have a one-on-one situation.
Now the Broncos back on offense, leading 21-0 early in the second quarter. First and 10 at their 22. Haven Moses comes in motion. Pitch back goes to Preston, running hard at the San Diego defense. He gets across the 25. Got 4. Woodrow Lowe is on the play. What a great day it is in Denver. Temperature in the mid to upper 70s. Cloudless skies. Playing a natural grass field. Watson comes wide left. 2nd and 6 play coming up for the Broncos. Running hard with the ball is Tony Reed, a Colorado back who came in here from Kansas City. He gets the ball to the 30. It's going to bring up 3rd and short yards. Lyndon King, left side linebacker, tackle for San Diego.
I think if Denver has a short yardage pass, they'll use it right now. They do not want to let the momentum that they've developed in the past 10 minutes get away from them. They're not going to do something foolish, but if they have a short yardage pass where they can get Preston man-to-man on a linebacker, they'll use it.
San Diego's big defensive front digs in now, 3rd down and 2, and Morton's ready to put it up.
Yes, he did make a beautiful catch. That ball was overthrown, and it appeared to me he had no chance to make the play. Not only caught the ball, picked up the first down, but kept Curley 100%.
Curley, of course, being your old friend Craig Morton.
Well, that's some kind of reception. Getting excellent protection at this time in the ball game, too. We saw San Diego break the protection a couple times early in the ball game, but since they've been burned, they haven't been back in the pocket quite as swiftly.
Steve Watson has been a big story the last 2 weeks here at Denver. From Wilmington, Delaware, out of Temple University in Philadelphia. Morton takes a look again, pumps, throws, a little long. Even Moses had a step on the defender, Willie Buchanan. That's not easy to do. Buchanan, one of the strong corners in the league.
That was a...
The scores roll in from around the National Football League on this. Look at that. The Jets come up with their first win, beating Houston soundly. And Cincinnati on the breach field goal defeats the Buffalo Bills 27-24. Pittsburgh winning over New England 27-21. Cleveland upset Atlanta today 28-17.
As a favorite one today, no?
It's been a tough day for the Chalk.
Only Pittsburgh.
Here's Martin taking a look, throws, and the ball is completed to Dave Preston coming out of the backfield. On a 2nd and 10 play, he got ahead for 7 yards, out to the 41. Bob Horn, a middle linebacker, who plays the passing downs mostly for San Diego, made the tackle. More scores. Detroit, impressive win on their home field at Pontiac, Michigan, flanking Oakland 16-0. Denver heads to Oakland next Sunday. Philadelphia rolled it up in the 4th quarter. Beat Washington, it was a tight game. Baltimore and Miami. Dolphins yet to lose this season. They've got a problem right now, tied up with the Colts of Baltimore. Martin takes a look, pump fakes twice, and goes to Riley Odom. He is a load coming down the field. That big guy gets ahead to the 41-yard line of San Diego. Third pass to Riley Odom. And the gain is all the way down to the 41.
I mean, when a quarterback gets that much time, he allowed Riley Odoms to go down, make a turn to the right, hook. Duncan got in his way, he turned back in the middle. If we had a clock on it, he had to take him about 5 seconds to get the pass off. Anybody can complete him under those conditions.
Get pump faking, let it go. It's an 18-yard gain, and the Broncos move on. 1st and 10 at the San Diego 41-yard line. Greg sees something he's not quite sure of in that San Diego defense and calls for a timeout with 9:52 left to play in the first half. And the Denver Broncos holding to a surprising 21-0 lead on their home field. We'll be back in Denver after this. For some folks, there's more sun than you need today in Denver, as the Broncos, with spectacular passing, big plays, have opened up a 21-0 lead. Now they have the ball 1st and 10 at the San Diego 41-yard line. 9:52 to play in the first half. Morton 8 for 9, throwing the ball for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running hard with the ball is Tony Reed, and he is caught and thrown back. Bob Horn, middle linebacker for the Chargers, got it. 55.
I don't think, Don, I've ever seen a team play outstanding defense when they switch middle linebackers. It's almost, people are asking, what's going on with the Chargers? They've got all those people on defense. They've got 3 fellas that have played in the Pro Bowl. They've got a couple of good linebackers. They've got Willie Buchanan and Mike Williams playing the corners, who are outstanding people, but their coordination is very suspect. It has been all year long. That's why people scored the points they've scored. And I just get the feeling you can't alternate your middle linebacker position.
They've been doing it. Horn's been the passing down guy. Middle linebacker's in there now. On 2nd and long, they go to the run. Weaving hard, getting some yardage is Rick Peros. Born in Brooklyn, out of Salt Lake City, Utah. He played at the University of Utah. 6th in the AFC in rushing. Coming off a knee injury that required surgery and kept him out all of what would have been his rookie year. Steve Watson of Denver has caught 4 passes today for 134 yards and a touchdown. Riley Odoms has 3 receptions for 39 yards and 2 touchdowns. Or 1 touchdown for Riley and 1 for Jim Wright. It's 3rd down and about 5 as the Broncos shift into the shotgun. Morton with that gun arm fires, and Preston has the ball. And the Denver Broncos ripping open the San Diego defense.
well-conceived play. He let Preston get on Woodrow low, and he waited and he waited and he waited. And finally, instead of going out to the sideline, which is Preston's pattern, he stopped cutting the middle. Everyone had dropped so deep that the middle was just wide open. Here he goes, looks to the outside, throws it to the inside, and Preston's left Woodrow has a lot of room to run.
San Diego coming in, giving up almost 400 yards per game. Although they've won their first three, they could give up 400 yards in the first half against this defense. Not misplayed. Tony Reed is caught way back at the 25-yard line. First and 10 run from the 18-yard line. Tony Reed loses 7. Big Louis Kelcher, a comeback story. Knee surgery in '79, kept him out all year. Then Big Louis from Beaumont, Texas, and SMU came back last year to make the Pro Bowl.
All right, we're looking at this drive, which, you know, it starts on the 18-yard line, and it's 21-0, so people are saying, ho-hum, no big deal. But when you look at the end of the ball game, when you're playing against a team like San Diego, this might be the straw that could break their back or put them back in the ball game. So this is an important drive.
Second and 17, Morton elects to go to the run. The ball comes inside the 25-yard line as Preston runs it down to about the 22. Game clock running in the second quarter, 6:50 to play. And the Broncos, if you joined us late, scoring very quickly, put up 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. One on a 19-yard pass to Riley Odoms. One on a 93-yard pass play. It was mostly run by young Steve Watson. And then Morton from in close hit his third-string tight end, Steve Wright, for the 3rd touchdown. Look at those numbers for Craig Morton. Shotgun, 3rd and 14. Man is wide open. Watson again. Complete breakdown of the San Diego pass coverage. Buchanan and Greg are looking at each other like, where were you? And Steve Watson is in the end zone for a 2nd time today. For a 5th time in the last 2 games. It's unbelievable.
Don, we talked about coordination. That's what's missing. I mean, Buchanan is an outstanding quarterback. They're playing a double zone defense down near the goal line. He's thinking Gregor's going to be back in position. When the ball's caught, Gregor was nowhere around. Touchdown. How sweet it is, and isn't it easy when everything goes right?
Easy money today for the Denver Broncos as Steinforth's extra point is up and good. 6:19 to play. First half. And it's a, believe it or not, a 28-0 game. Denver over the favorite and previously unbeaten San Diego Chargers. The Chargers have the power to come back. We'll see if they can. With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Mile High Stadium. It has been an all-Denver afternoon as the Broncos lead in the first half 28-0, and now Freddie Steinforth kicks off out of the end zone. Final score just in from Baltimore. With 1:02 left to play in the game, Uwe von Schaumburg kicked a 27-yard field goal. Miami Dolphins hold on to beat the Colts 31-28. Miami remains unbeaten, 4-0 on the year. Baltimore gave him a full run.
Puts them 2 up, though, in that AFC East because Buffalo got beaten today by Cincinnati. So those 2 overtime games were a big switch.
Now it's 1st and 10. To the run, and James Brooks, rookie #1 draft choice from Auburn, is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. By a Bronco defense, it's firing out as soon as that ball is snapped. Gradishar was on the play, so was 66 Bryson Manor. Randy Gradishar from Champion, Ohio. Woody Hayes called him the best linebacker we ever had at Ohio State.
He could have been the best linebacker they ever had at about any college he chose to play.
Right. They mic'd him once. Do a special show on him. All I got was some deep breathing and a couple of nice goings. He doesn't say much out there.
Well, that talking's a little overrated for a man with that leg.
Few of them will chit-chat, though. Here is Dan Fouts on 2nd down and 8. Tip ball. Denver has it. Steve Foley, who takes a full shot from Kellen Winslow. Foley is down. His 2nd interception, and the Broncos have it back. This is a career day. You recall that opening game of the season when San Diego went to Cleveland and played about as well as a football team can. Now it's all come back. A mirror performance, only this time it's by Denver against San Diego. Foley with with his second interception. He took some shot from Kellen Winslow.
Let's take a look. We've talked about Gradishar. This is Bob Svensson, number 51, trying to make the play on Seaver. Seaver's got the ball, lets it go through his hand, and this is what's great. The coordination between the two safeties at Denver is about as good as you'll find anywhere. On the other side of the coin, where has San Diego had their problems? In the coordination area. Their middle linebackers alternating. Their two safeties are new. These guys are great in the middle of their defense, and you can see Fouts is a little frustrated. He's got some time left, but something has to happen quick for them to get back in this ball game. I've never seen anybody come back from 28-0. But last week, you'll recall that Kansas City came back after it was 28-7, and when San Diego was ahead. Take a look at this hit. Kellen Winslow, I guess, can do just about everything. Whew.
Well, he's giving away some weight, Steve Foley, as he's about 188. Kellen Winslow's at least 250, and he unloaded with full leverage. That's a very interesting point you're making now, John, about the strength of the San Diego team up the middle, the lack of strength there and experience, and the change in middle linebacker, depending on if it's a passing down or a short yardage down. Conversely, Denver has great experience in people like Gradishar, all-pro quality inside backer, and Bill Thompson, a 13-year veteran at strong safety, and Foley, the free safety with a lot of years.
Yeah, I mean, you can just take a look. Foley's the kind of guy that has been around picking up stray balls for 7 years, and he's exactly what Denver needs.
We'll be back in a moment. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is KOA TV, Channel 4 in Denver.
5:27 left to play in the first half. You see the opposing coaches. Dan Reeves on the left, 37 years old, youngest coach at this time in the National Football League. His 57-year-old counterpart from San Diego, Don Coryell, whose high-power offense has been shut down today. It has been Denver rolling up the points and leading this game 28-0. Morton on 1st and 10 throws in the flat to Watson. The elusive Mr. Watson, remember that play a little earlier, went for 93 yards and a touchdown. This time Willie Buchanan was there to catch him and hold on.
Well, I think Buchanan's using good sense. He's not going to stand there and play a man-to-man all over the field, having been beaten for a couple touchdowns. They gave him a little 4 or 5 yard play, and you know, I think I've seen Craig Morton doing more things with the football today than I have in the past 4 or 5 years when he's been in Denver, and I relate that to structure. They're doing the things offensively that gives a quarterback a chance to throw better.
He's mixing the ball up, putting it all over the field. Everybody gets a piece of it, all his receivers. Now he has 2nd down and 6. Pitch back. Rick Peros runs the ball for Denver, spins off inside the 25, and is thrown back. Getting short of a first down by 2, maybe 3 yards. Bob Horn and Bob Greger on the tackle for the Chargers.
Everybody used to have a book on Denver, all right? They won't throw the ball inside their own 50. They won't do the things that create unnecessary mistakes. Well, that's gone by the boards. If you can't go out and create something offensively, you're just putting your defense in such a hole that eventually somebody's going to beat you, and that's been happening to Denver in tight games over the past 2 or 3 years. I don't think it's going to happen to them.
Right now, they send Haven Moses wide left, go back to the right. Arrows tries it up the middle. Arrows is a fullback, not a big one. Weighs in at about 205 pounds, stands 5'11". But over the years at Dallas, they've only had one big fullback. That was Kelvin Hill. They like the small, quick back fullback and get outside.
I tell you, they got one down there. That Bobby Newhouse wasn't bad. He might only been about 3'6", but he put something on you. Walt Garrison had an awful lot in 210 pounds.
Yes, he did. Right now, the Cowboys are leading the New York Giants 3-0 in the first quarter. Here's Steinfort. Had a great year last year kicking field goals, 76%. Started off slow, only 2 of 8 this year, and he's blocked today, so he's 2 of 9. Chargers will get the ball through 23. I talked to Steinfort before the game. He said it's like a golf swing. Got to keep the head down. Now he's picking 9 up. He thought he had things worked out.
Yeah, it is an awful lot like a golf swing, but when you get in the groove, you start making everything you hit. This is just real good defensive play by the interior part of the San Diego defense. One of the few good defensive plays they've made.
We'll be back at Mile High Stadium right after this.
1981.
Mile High Stadium is one of the biggest stadiums in the National Football League, but the one problem they have here is not big enough. They could sell 130 or 140,000 season tickets. Sold out for an 83rd time today. Fouts looking to throw. He has a problem. The San Diego offense is knocked back again. This time coming in is Reuben Carter. Short but powerful middle guard for Denver. Third sack of Fouts.
Let's just credit the defensive linebackers and defensive backs because there was nowhere Fouts could go with the ball. His drop's real quick. He's ready to go out to the left right now. He's got Charlie Joyner is hammered. He's got nowhere to go. It's all a coordinated effort. That's how Denver gets as many sacks as it does. It puts its cornerbacks man-to-man on receivers, and they cover them all over the field. I'd go broke trying to beat them, but a lot of people have.
Last year, Chargers came in here, John, and protected Dan Fouts and beat Denver 30-13. Then they went to San Diego for the second meeting. Here's a strike. This time the ball is completed. Ron Smith has the ball. He's in a foot race. He gets out to the 45-yard line, but there is a flag down. In the second meeting between these two teams at San Diego, Denver sacked Fouts 6 times and won the second game 2013.
Little offensive holding.
2:42 to go in the first half, and the Broncos continue to keep the heat on San Diego, leading the game 28-0.
When it's going good, we see Dan, he's again trying to pick on Louis Wright with Smith, who gets down, has enough time to throw the ball, puts the ball right where he needs. You can see the holding call up
Number
the top
66
of the screen.
offense.
Billy Shields, the left tackle, got caught. Get some big people. They've got buildings in that front line of San Diego. Shields is 6'8", 275. Russ Washington, 6'7", 290, the other tackle. Ed White, one of the guards, is 275. Doug Wilkerson's 270.
We got a few mounds on defense, too, Pat.
Yes, they do. That front line, I guess, is as big as there is in football. San Diego defensive front. Fouts takes a look, throws, he's got him in. Coming out of the backfield is John Cappelletti. He's out close to the 30-yard line. He had a lot of ground to make up on a 2nd and 25 play. He got most of it back. It's going to be now 3rd down and about 4. John Cappelletti. They've had an L.A.-San Diego connection. A lot of Ram players come down to San Diego, and a lot have gone north.
Well, I like Cappelletti, and he's helped. He complements what Muncie does very well, and they kind of insert Brooks and Cappelletti when they're in a passing situation early because Cappelletti is so familiar with what Fouts likes to do. They'll put him in a lot in third down passing situations.
Former Penn State Heisman Trophy winner. One thing Cappelletti can block. He'll obliterate those people when he hits them. Now the 2-minute warning is given. 2 minutes to play in the first half here at Mile High Stadium. The Broncos continue to lead the game 28-0, and we'll be right back after this. For all the latest developments in the drive for the playoffs, be sure to tune to NBC's Baseball Game of the Week. Next Saturday, the final Saturday of the regular season. Our lineup depends on the playoff races, so check your local listings for the game in your area. Next Saturday at 2 p.m. here on NBC Sports, the home of Major League Baseball down the stretch in the second season. The NFL season moving into a 4th week today with surprises, upsets all over the league. Certainly one in the development here at Mile High Stadium. The Chargers came in favored. Broncos lead this game 28-0. Minnesota was an underdog at Green Bay today. Was behind 10-0 early, and then young Tommy Kramer started to hit the passes, and the Vikings rout the Green Bay Packers 30-13. That's the final score. San Diego not doing well on 3rd downs. Converting them, they have a 3rd and 4 right now. They're 30. Fouts sets up, throws over the middle to Charlie Joyner, and he gets ahead very close to the first down. He had to get to the 34, just beyond it. Where they're spotting the ball, he's not there.
It's also the first time they've been able to get to Joyner. They'll give him something 2 or 3 yards down the field. San Diego's got to go for it on 4th and 1, even if they don't pick it up. They've got 1:47 left to play. That's plenty of time to get in the end zone, but they've got to put something on the board just so they have something to talk about at halftime.
They're down right now, 28-0 with 1:47 to play in the half. Dan Reeves, the coach of Denver, says, we're not a super talented team. We're going to have to fight for everything we're going to get this season. Today, the points have come rather easily. They've broken the big plays.
They're super talented where it's toughest to get people. That is in their defensive line, their defensive linebackers, and their cornerbacks. Their offensive personnel, their specialists, they're not extremely talented. Morton has to have a good day for them to make something offensively. But you can draft that. There's a lot of them around the league, and you can bet they'll improve quickly.
Boy, I tell you, if Denver ever had a Muncie, you have to throw a net over him. 1:43 left to go now in the first half as the Denver Broncos signal for a timeout. San Diego has the ball when we come back. It was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. 1:43 left to play in the first half. Don Criqui with John Brody, Denver's Mile High Stadium. As the Broncos send out the defense now, looking at a fourth down play coming up for San Diego. Fourth and less than a yard. Chargers have to move the ball out and get 4 new downs as they're down in this game 28-0. Goal line front. San Diego.
They've got it.
The man got it over the top. Cappelletti leaping over the top. It's James Brooks going over the top to get it.
The impressive thing about San Diego is they still are playing the game to win. A lot of teams would have punted on fourth down. Let's get it in the locker room and regroup. They kept their drive alive, and they're on the line right now.
Fouts throws in the flat, goes to James Brooks. On a first down play, Brooks is across the 40 and out close to the 44-yard line. Tom Jackson, inside linebacker, made the tackle. Clock winding down now, 1:10 and running.
Yes, second down. 2 to go.
And
Fouts stops the clock as he throws it to one of the assistant coaches.
remember, that is not a penalty. You can throw the ball away to stop the clock, just not to keep from losing yardage. They can regroup now. They've got a couple timeouts left. In fact, they've got all 3 left. They've got 1 minute and 1 second to get it down the field, 56 yards. Third down and 2. They may just run the ball here because on 4th and 2 it gets rather tough to pick it up.
Rulon Jones comes out. Bryson Manor goes in to rush the passer at right end. 4 down linemen. Latimer's also in. Handoff on 3rd and 2 goes to James Brooks, and he breaks it, and James Brooks is down to the 46-yard line of Denver. The game clock is now inside 54 seconds.
This is the first drive, Don. It's looked like the offensive line has beaten Denver's defense at the line of scrimmage. You saw that play break. It broke it. Brooks had some running room before he got to the line. 54 seconds to play. They've got a lot of time to put some points on the board.
Don Coryell talking it over with Dan Fouts. Coming up at halftime, Brian Kendall and NFL 81. An update on all the scores and the stories of this 4th weekend of play. It has been a day of upsets. Coryell had a long time waiting for that first head coaching job. Started out at a high school in Honolulu, Hawaii. Later coached in Whittier College in California. Coached at the University of British Columbia. Was a paratrooper in the Second World War, then went to Washington State as a defensive back. Always has good defensive coaches with him. At San Diego State, we had those great teams, 3 unbeaten seasons. His defensive coach was John Nett. He worked on the offense, did Coryell.
You know, I think the impressive part, and I think it's indicative of Coryell, somebody asked him to assess the season, and he said, I don't assess seasons. I assess each opponent as we play them. And he said, I really just live from week to week in this game, and it's worked very well for him. And he says, it's the only thing I can do to put all my attention against my opponent and see how we come out. That way I don't let it bother me after it's over, but I know I've prepared myself during the week.
He always gives people something different to look at, the defenses he meets each week. Here's Craig Morton, 11 for 12, 222 yards and 4 touchdowns. You can retire on that.
How sweet it is. Just another day at the plant. His offensive line's giving him a lot of time to throw the ball. Their patterns are very creative, and he's executed it just about perfectly.
Gusting wind blowing here in Denver. Beautiful sunshiny day. 1st and 10. Fouts with 50 seconds left. Pump fakes, takes a look. Throws on the run into the end zone. Charlie Joyner is there. Up he goes, and the ball is free. It was exciting, but it comes up as a loud out.
Well, that was close to being over the line of scrimmage when he threw, and it would have been nothing. They just brought it back to where it is anyway, 2nd down and 10. But Mike Harden was impressive there. When that ball was put in the air, he was clear over on the other stripe. Got to the ball before it hit the ground. Here's Louis and Charlie having a go at it. Here comes Harden, looking for any bobbles.
They've had the blanket on Charlie Joyner today. He's had a great season to date. Came in with 15 receptions, averaging over 25 yards a catch for the Chargers.
That's what Denver does. They take away what you do best.
Now it is 2nd down and 10 for the Chargers. On a draw. Cappelletti runs with the ball and takes it down to the 37-yard line. 38 seconds to play. And the Chargers call for timeout. San Diego coming into the game with victories this season, and their first 3 times out they blew away Cleveland. Had a tough time with Detroit. Tough time with Kansas City, come in 3-0. Next week they're back at Jack Murphy Stadium to play Seattle. Denver Broncos open with an upset here against the Oakland Raiders, 9-7. Lost the next week in Seattle, a game they very easily could have won. Mistakes hurt them. Came back last week, played their best game, routing the Baltimore Colts. Next week, the Denver Broncos head to Oakland.
Whenever you're giving up 30 points in 3.5 games, you got a lot of positions where you should have won the ball game. That's what's been going on today.
San Diego comes in averaging 38 points a game. Dan Reeves says, as you heard him at the outset, the way you stop San Diego is don't let their offense get the ball. You've got to control it with your offense.
Yeah, he said that for publicity, but I'll tell you what he told his defense. We take away Charlie Joyner, we take away Kellen Winslow, we make them throw the ball to Severs, and we make them throw the ball to Capoletti. We give them the ball to Muncie in the flats, and we can converge on that play, but we don't give them anything deep. That's how they score all their points, and they haven't been given anything all day long.
They surely have not. They have shut down San Diego's high-scoring and #1 offense. Chargers blank for almost 2 quarters of play. 38 seconds, 3rd and 1. Throw in the flat. Out it goes. Catching the ball is John Capoletti. First down to the 30, and the clock is down to 30 seconds and stopped.
That's their last time out, Donnie, but they've still got plenty of time to put 4 balls in the end zone. I'll be interested to see if they do get it down another 7 or 8 yards before the half, if they try to kick the field goal. I rather doubt that they will. They know they've got to get touchdowns on the board to have any chance of catching a 28-0 deficit. Fouts back. He will not duck his head and consider this game over until the final bell is rung. Capoletti makes a nice play and picks up the first.
A couple of terrific specials tonight on NBC. A Bob Hope special and a Johnny Carson special. That's tonight as Dan Fouts goes over with the ball at the San Diego, the Denver 30. 1st and 10.
Steve Watson.
First he had to win his way onto the lineup, into the roster as a free agent. Then he made the starting team. Keeps going like he is. He's going to be in the Pro Bowl. Caught 7 balls last week, 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. Look at him today, 6 catches for 158 yards and 2 scores.
Whenever you see a receiver that's really catching a lot of balls and doing a lot of things, you see a team that has a good offensive structure, and you see a way for them to get him open, and you've also got a quarterback who's throwing the ball well. And I think Greg Morton and Dan Reeves' structure right now have allowed Steve Watson to get the ball thrown to him, and he's made the most of it.
Morton has had this spectacular day. Now 30 seconds left. Chargers will be a firing. 1st and 10 at the 30. Fouts looks, throws. The ball is tipped off the hands of Ryan Smith, former LA Ram. San Diego fans remember him as a hero last January. That playoff game with Buffalo, and the Bills were leading late in the game. Smith ran the post pattern, caught the ball, and he was gone, and San Diego won.
He kept him alive, and that was a very big catch. But if they're going to get in this ball game, he's got to catch balls like that, because it might have been tipped on, but from this angle, it didn't look like it.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 10 now for the Chargers, just inside the Denver 30. 24 seconds on the first half clock. Fouts sacked again. Rulon Jones, 4th sack of the day for the Denver defense. Coming into the game from previous games, Fouts have been sacked just once.
Boy, those defensive linemen getting their starting blocks, and they're coming when they get you 28-0. Billy Shields is just having about all he can handle right now. Remember, he's thought to be about as good as Russ Washington. That's an awful high level of play.
Rulon Jones is a force, though. Here he comes again. He gets Fouts again. Fouts gets away, drills the ball, and is caught down to the 25-yard line. But the game clock winds out the first half. That is the deal here for 2 quarters. And the Denver Broncos, through 2 periods of play, blast the San Diego Chargers by a score of 28-0. A standing salute. That Rocky Mountain Thunder starts to rain on down from all over Mile High Stadium. 76,000 standing tribute to a great performance by the Denver Broncos.
Well, they've got him in such a hole now that you can bet they're going to get some more sacks on Fouts. He's got no option. He's going to get him back in the ball game. I've never seen a team win when they were down 28-0 at half. If there's anybody I'd like to take my chances on, it would be the San Diego offense, but I'd rather have somebody else to play against than Rulon Jones and these boys from Denver.
Rulon Jones has been something, a #2 draft choice a year ago out of Utah State. He's becoming one of the best defensive ends, both the pass and the run. He plays well now. So that's the story as they head to the locker room here at Denver. We'll be going to NFL 81 and a complete update of this fourth weekend of play. That's the end of the first half. The score is Denver 28 and San Diego nothing.